she fix it? She can! So exhausted, but fighting all the way to the end!
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here in the West Australian Ninja League, looking to see some of our elite female and elite males take to the stage here. I'm incredibly excited. As a West Australian commentator myself, I'm really excited to see some of these incredible athletes step up onto the course today. As we kind of look to see the run order here, we can see that we have 1 elite female athlete and 8 elite male athletes, and knowing the caliber of these individuals, it's going to be exceptional to try and determine which ninja is going to take out that top spot. We can see in the elite female division, we have Claire Butterfield. Claire has exceptional presence in the ninja space. She's competed for many years and has been fortunate enough to compete at the World Championships before, so is going to be applying a lot of that to the course here today. And as we kind of gauge the elite male division here, we can see that the gym owner himself, Dave Ravi, is going to be stepping up to the plate first. Dave Ravi, of course, designed a lot of these obstacles. I'm sure that if he's competing today, he wouldn't have tried the obstacles himself and would have got others to try them. But he is a phenomenal athlete, probably one of the most experienced ninjas in the Australian scene. And I believe that my co-commentator, Alex, is just coming in to the scene now. Hello, Alex. Well, as we can see, that we have also got Trevor Salter, John Thompson, Daniel Waterman, Gavin Wilson, Cody Thomas, Chris Keswick, and Tex Gallagher. If you have seen any of these athletes before, they are all phenomenal in terms of their abilities and their experience on this course. However, as we are stepping up into this elite male and elite female divisions, we are going to see the toughest course that we have seen thus far. We're going to be putting these athletes to the test. All of them have so many years of experience in this sport, and many of them train out of the Ninja Academy themselves. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they fare on this course here.
Sorry about that, everybody. They told me 1:30.
That is no dramas. Alex, well, as I was just kind of saying, it's going to be really interesting to see how all these competitors fare on this course, because we are seeing some of the most experienced athletes here, and we can just see the course format again. I might leave that to you, Alex, to explain.
Sure thing. So, as a reminder to everybody, or if you're new around here, there are 2 courses that these athletes are going to be taking on. The first is the placement course, in which it'll be your traditional flow format, fall and you're done. And that, it's been a lightning fast course all weekend long, as it will be throughout Premier Series, and it determines the run order for the challenge course. Now in the challenge course, this is a new course format this year for the World Ninja League, so it's something that we've been seeing competitors start to get a little bit more accustomed to as the weeks have gone on. But you will get 2 retries for the entire course. You can use it anywhere on the course, but you cannot use both retries on the same obstacle. Now, you must complete the obstacle in front of you in order to advance, no matter how many tries it takes. The penalty for failing is essentially that the time you took to fail that obstacle will count against you. However, the clock will pause when the obstacle is being reset. So it'll be the challenge course that determines the final results and which 4 athletes, at least for the men's division, we'll talk about Claire in a second, qualify for the Premier Series finals this November at Fair Oaks Athletics in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, Alex, and it is worth noting that as we kind of step up into this elite division, this is going to be the toughest course that we have seen so far out of all the divisions in this Australian competition. But I think for the elites, at least, they're not used to falling. You know, they're used to that kind of experience where once you fall, you're eliminated from the competition. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of use that to their advantage and how they use those retries in order to get through a course that I am certain is going to be super difficult.
Oh yeah, I mentioned during the teen course that I saw something that I am genuinely not sure humans can complete. I'm low-key hoping it's not there, but we will see in time, and I don't know, maybe somebody will complete it and will defy the laws of physics.
Alex, I'm not going to lie, there are some competitors in here who have defied the laws of physics many times over. There are some seriously exceptional athletes in this elite division. I mean,
there certainly are.
From personal experience, seeing Daniel Waterman out on the course and seeing some of the obstacles that he has been able to navigate, he weighs about 50 kilos. So I find that sometimes on some of those obstacles where that he can do things that no one else can. And then you have someone like Cody Thomas who has the grip strength that I've never seen before in any other athlete. So I hope that we get that really difficult obstacle in the course, because then we'll get to see these athletes demonstrate how good they are.
Well, two athletes that I'm very familiar with from way back in the day are Gavin Wilson and Chris Keswick. I met them either 2018 or 2019 Worlds, so they definitely have WNL experience in the past, having come to the World Championship. And hopefully we will get to see some of these athletes again in November in the States. But Gavin, Chris, and really all of the Australians are just all super nice, very pleasant people, and definitely would recommend making an international friend if you're ever in the World Championship.
Yeah, no, they definitely all are beautiful, exceptional people. And it's worth noting that Claire Butterfield, our sole elite female competitor, also has World Championship experience. I believe she attended the 2019 or 2020 World Championships from memory. And has always been a dominant female athlete in the Australian scene, has won many key competitions and secured a lot of first place victories. So despite being the only elite female competitor, as we'll kind of get to once we get to the challenge course, her place is not secured necessarily in the elite, in the Premier Series finals, and she will have to work for that spot for sure.
Yeah, we don't want to give any handouts, and we also want to give Claire a little bit of a competition, given that she's the only athlete. So what she'll have to do is complete 3 obstacles on the challenge course. And the third obstacle is no gimme. Actually, none of the first 3 obstacles are gimmies, because we've seen athletes go out on all 3 of those obstacles this weekend, and we've seen some heartbreaking qualifying denials on those obstacles. So hopefully Claire gets through. Hopefully she hits a buzzer and rocks this course. But time will tell as to what she is going to put up on this course.
Yeah, and I think one kind of surprise athlete that I wasn't expecting in the mix is Dave Ravi himself. Dave, of course, is the owner of Ninja Academy and the course designer of today's course. So I wonder when he was building the course, either last night or a few days before this competition, if he was trying to make it easier for himself, or if he just really wanted to challenge everyone and punish everyone.
I can explain Dave Ravi. So Dave, obviously, quite the sportsman, always up for a challenge, has decided to show some solidarity with these athletes and, introduce himself a little bit to the audience at home. So he is going to be taking on this course in an unofficial capacity. It won't count towards the final standings, as he knows the course, so it would be a little bit unfair. But he is going to get his opportunity to show us what he's made of, as Claire Butterfield is getting her shot to show us what she's made of.
Yeah, Claire, of course, a really experienced ninja, has more than 4 years of experience in the sport, is a local hero, to be truthful. She trains all the time down at the Ninja Academy, has a lot of talents in a lot of different areas, has a background in gymnastics, and then transitioned that into Ninja Warrior, and now into obstacle course racing as well. So very diverse athlete that has had so much experience in this field. But now we're really starting to get a look at the elite division course, and we can see in the placement course, we're going straight for the cliffhangers here.
Yeah, and we saw this in the amateurs. It's really going to come down to the athletes that power through that. We saw on the team course and on some of the other courses, it really came down to the athletes that just gassed out there. Athletes won't be gassed here, and that is a great opportunity for them to pick up some time. But this skyhook has been nasty, although Claire gets it perfectly.
Yeah, Claire really Oh wow! No, she's struggling a little bit with that first grab.
This is a very thin grab, and she pulled off the skyhook. Oh dear! Having a good
Alex,
laugh about it, though, thankfully.
An early upset there that we were not expecting.
This is
Not
Gabby
Claire's
from
run.
the teen division, but Claire, there's Claire. Yeah, Claire definitely showing us what she's got. That's exactly what we wanted out of this placement course. Giving us a little bit of a laugh. She is okay. And now the moment we've been waiting for, Dave Ravi about to attempt his own course and hopefully unlock some beta for these competitors.
Yeah, I think it's always fun for Dave, to kind of set the standard. He's a phenomenal athlete. It goes without saying. He has probably the most experience out of any of the athletes that are going to be stepping up onto the course today. He's designed more obstacles probably than he's completed. At this point, I think he is responsible for designing obstacles that have taken ninjas weeks to finish. So he loves a challenge, and I think he's probably designed the challenge course to be something really painful and something really difficult for these ninjas.
I mean, that's technically true of me also, but doesn't count because I'm bad at ninja.
No, Dave, I've seen some exceptional... He's competed in the past in a lot of different competitions, including, of course, always the finals series, and although he designs these courses, he doesn't seem to touch them beforehand. And he always seems to come unstuck in one way or another to his own creations. So it'll be interesting to see what he's going to do on this course.
All right, here he goes. Doesn't want to fail the first obstacle on his own course. That's the important part.
No, I think he's done those little steps a million times at this point.
Sure. Now he's going with the step over technique on Spine Runner. I thought maybe he would go for the Baker technique.
Yeah. If there's one thing you should know...
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, if there's one thing you should know about Dave Ravi's style, he of course teaches so many of the youth, and he really expresses technique. Really has a strong focus on visualizing every obstacle and using the best techniques he can. And you can see him here just kind of really executing strongly. But can he stick the skyhook? That is the question.
Great body awareness. Gets one of the two. That's all you need. We saw this happen a couple times in the amateurs. Reaches up for that very thin ledge, practically a vertical limit, and I guess that confirms that you can use the top. We saw one athlete use the top in the amateurs. I wasn't sure if that would be a DQ or not, but I guess that confirms that if the course designer does it, it must be okay, and Dave Ravi is going to get the buzzer. Good for you, Dave.
Yeah, a really just clean run all around. Dave showing people that he can complete his own monstrosity of a course. So he's going to be hopefully trying out the challenge course as well. I hope to see him on that. And yeah, it's just such a smooth run. It's always great to see Dave step up and show these other ninjas that it's very much doable. And Alex, now we kind of move into the competition side of things, where we're starting to look at the athletes that will be competing for placements. We have 7 key elite male athletes that are going to be competing here today. Trevor Salter, John Thompson, Daniel Waterman, Gavin Wilson, Cody Thomas, Chris Keswick, and Tex Gallagher. These are all exceptional athletes, Alex. Honestly, it's hard to pick them apart. They all have their unique strengths, and they've all secured wins in key competitions in the past, so it's going to be very close.
Well, Trevor and John are 2 athletes on this list that I'm not familiar with, so I'm looking forward to seeing them for the first time. Kane kind of tipped me off on how good Daniel Waterman is, so we'll see if Kane's a man of his word. And Kane would be a guy who would know such things. And I've come to be familiar with Tex Gallagher, who has lit up the teen division here in the NCL over in Australia.
Yeah, no, he's fast. They honestly all have their different strengths. Like Trevor would go towards strength in general. John Thompson has a very similar style to Dan Waterman in terms of they're both very light. They love their lock off. They love anything endurance based. Gav, Cody, and Chris just have that experience, and then Tex is a lightning bolt on the course. He just goes all out, and I don't think he knows how to rest, to be truthful, Alex.
Well, we will see if Dave Ravi forces him to rest on the challenge course. But the placement course will be up first.
Yeah, no, this is really exciting. This is kind of what makes my day, is seeing such strong competitors come out for a competition like this. Seriously, as you look at these 7 competitors, they are all so good at what they do. And they're not only going to be going for course completions here, they're going to be going for the fastest time. As we can see, Trevor Salter gearing up, the big man himself.
49, our oldest competitor this weekend, and great to see some of the Masters opting to go to Elite. You don't see too many of them going Elite because they find it hard to keep up with the young guys, but Trevor Salter proving that you can do it.
Yeah, no, Trevor is definitely deserving to be in this Elite division. He has so much experience on this course, is always training. Going with the jumping approach.
A little bit of a bunny hop technique. I like it.
Not something that we've seen before. I think we're going to see some of these elite males power through this cliffhanger. Yeah, Trevor trying to set the world record here as we go across this cliffhanger with lightning pace.
Definitely one of the fastest we've seen. Makes a dismount and on to the bar hop skyhook.
Yeah, you can just see like how deserving Trevor is to be in this elite division. He's setting such a cracking pace, despite being the first competitor. This is honestly probably the cleanest run that we have seen so far, Alex. This is exceptional from Trevor.
Yeah, he's making great work of this course, opting to go up the middle wall, a little bit of a time saver. Don't have to vault over 2 of those walls, only 1. And Trevor Salter showing up the young guns. Way to go.
Yeah, really throwing down the gauntlet there. You know, with an exceptional time there of 58 seconds, that's going to be one that's going to push those young guns and say, hey, you're not allowed to rest on this course. You've got to go all out if you want that top spot. So yeah, and I think that's going to throw a bit of worry to all the other competitors looking to step up to the plate. But yeah, now we're seriously getting into the pointy end of things. We've got John Thompson up next. He's one of the young and upcoming ninjas. He is like dominated throughout the teen division and now stepped up into this elite division. And just, yeah, really come through strong. He is exceptional lock off. That is one thing I will warn you about, Alex, is he does not stop locking off.
Well, that will definitely come in handy in the challenge course. Not going to come in too handy in the placement course other than maybe on the cliffhanger. And we will see what he is all about. 17 years old. So about a third of the age of Trevor that just finished the course. But I honestly am so impressed by Trevor's run. I am sure John's about to impress me here as well.
Yeah, all these elites really will. They're all very consistent. They know how to do well on these courses. They're not too prone to making mistakes, and that's kind of what puts them in this elite class. As John
and
now
another
moves
bunny
on to
hop
Spine
technique.
Run.
Interesting.
Yeah, we haven't seen
really
that
seen
all
that.
day.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in any of the other divisions, and now we're 2 for 2 here in the elite male. And I was kind of wondering how many would just run across those top black blockades. I've been calling it the Baker technique. Both Darren and Millie did it earlier.
Yeah, I'm surprised that more of them aren't going towards that technique. Maybe because they're a little bit heavier as competitors in general, so it might be a bit more difficult. But John is looking strong here. He lines up the skyhook. He's done this a million times before. Can he execute on the day? Struggling a little bit.
Yeah, really needs to keep centered here. It's not like a traditional ring. You really have to hit that in the center, and he does. Might be thinking for an early dismount. You don't want to swing too far back, because then you're going to do exactly
Alex,
that.
You called it. Oh, John Thompson out with an early exit. That will leave him with a completion of cliffhanger, but unfortunately coming out on the skyhooks. Yeah, he was looking for that dismount, I think, Alex, and just a little bit too ambitious there, and I think it cost him with that big backswing.
Yeah, just a tough break there. That real thin ledge that you have to grab. Not only is it a blind grab, so you don't know where it's going to be, but it's a rounded grip of, I don't know, maybe half an inch at most. So that is so hard to hold on to. I can definitely understand why competitors would be motivated to try to skip it.
Yeah, well, next up we have Daniel Waterman, and honestly probably one of the strongest athletes in Australia to date. Last year we had a kind of Ninja World Cup at the end of the year, and Dan Waterman was the first ninja to complete Stage 3 in just kind of in general of any competition that we've ever had. No one's ever completed Stage 3.
Oh, wow.
And
well, he
yeah,
got too excited and tried to do the salmon ladder there. Instead, he would do the much easier spine runner.
Yeah, we can see him setting a great time.
I can't say we've even had anyone out on this spine runner. Look at this pace on the cliffhanger. That's one of the fastest cliffhangers I've ever seen.
Yeah, Dan Waterman is going for that top time. He's trying to put the pressure on these later competitors. He's just, just all round, such a strong athlete. Alex, he's going straight for the top.
Yeah, might as well. And this is going to be a tremendous time by Daniel, only using half of his time limit, not even giving us a minute to breathe. 42 seconds.
Yeah, similar to the Millie Baker run that we saw in the teen division. He really just took that run by storm. We're getting a little bit of a replay from a John Thompson here, but hopefully we can go across to the Dan Waterman run. I think that just really,
Here it is.
if you blink and you miss it, really.
That's gonna be one for the highlight reel. Hopefully, we've been putting together some highlight reels at the end of events, and that is one of the most impressive things I've seen. We had a kind of a similar cliffhanger scale at my hometown Iron City competition, and I think that might have been the fastest time on that cliffhanger.
Yeah, Daniel
he might have won
Waterman's
that skill.
Yeah, his power to weight ratio is next level. Seriously, if the challenge course puts him some hard grip obstacles, you'll see it in full effect. But now we're definitely moving into kind of the more experienced ninjas. Gavin Wilson, Cody Thomas, Chris Keswick. These guys have been training for years and years and years. So let's see if the experience pays off here, Alex. Dan Waterman has thrown down the gauntlet as Gav Wilson is going to be looking to beat that time.
Gav Wilson, one of the taller athletes, looking to use his wingspan to his advantage. And there's that stride technique. We've been waiting for that.
Yeah, let's see how his wingspan goes here on the cliffhangers. He's jumped straight across.
Yeah, very smooth. About the same pace as Daniel, but because of that wingspan, didn't need to use the same power that Daniel did.
Yeah, he's definitely seeing Daniel's time, and he's going to be looking to beat it. Just gets one in there.
But he knows he can reach up for the top of that board now. We'll see which wall he chooses. He's going to go for the shorter one. Interesting strategy, having to vault over the others. But a nice lunge to the buzzer, and just barely missing the sub 40, but 40 seconds. Tremendous stuff out of Gav.
Yeah, Gav, once again, kind of one of our older and more experienced competitors, using his strengths to his advantage. He has that wingspan that most other ninjas do not have the luxury of. He has so much experience being in a stage 3 context, being in that top level spot. So I think Gav's going to be looking to take out this whole series, to be truthful.
Oh yeah, Gav consistently one of the top competitors in the Ninja Challenge League, both in the regular season and the finals. And I do have to say, Jack, I didn't recognize him without the beard. He had this, every time I've seen him, he has this huge, luscious beard, and it's just gone now. I don't know. Guess he didn't want to be recognized in the street.
I think, Gav's an absolute unit, and he's usually got that beard that goes with him. But Alex, I think I'm really excited for this next competitor, Cody Thomas, perhaps one of the strongest ninjas you will ever meet. He can hold any grip known to man, to be truthful, and he's also very quick on the course. So we will see how he fares as he gears up. I think Dan Waterman has definitely thrown down a pace, and all these ninjas are now going for it.
Oh, okay. Interesting bunny hop technique. They're only doing one hop on each section of the blue. And now onto the cliffhanger.
Yeah, we're just seeing these ninjas go for it. They're not stopping.
Oh my gosh. Holding a perfect lock off all the way through. I mean, if you're not impressed at home, check your pulse.
He's lost a bit of momentum there. Cody's having to take more swings than what he would have liked. But he's going to be going for that top reach. Yeah, you can see those ninjas using their wingspan there, saving themselves from grabbing that cliff ledge. Probably not the time that Cody would have wanted, but it's still going to be a well-placed time coming into the challenge course after this. 46.90.
Yeah, just shy of 47. Great work there by Cody. Love the bunny hop technique, and definitely one to watch for on the challenge course, even if you'll be running it a little earlier than he may have liked.
Yeah, and I think for these elite level athletes, whilst it really helps to be running... Oh, wow, we can see that Gav Wilson has thrown down the top time. I didn't even realize that.
I mean, he was just so fluid throughout that entire course, really using the wingspan to his advantage.
Yeah, Gav Wilson, really using that wingspan. And despite having a little bit of a slip up at the end, just showing how dominant he was in that first half of that course. Wow, just look at the times. Just all around such great times as we move into another very experienced athlete here. Chris Keswick, just kind of a local staple in the WA community. Always down for competitions. Such a consistent athlete. And has a very kind of famous phrase. I don't know if you've heard about it before, Alex, but we call him the kind of hot tub athlete because he was always like, hot tub, before he does big moves. So,
well, hopefully he won't have to soak in a hot tub to... I don't know where I was going with that sentence. Chris Keswick dominating the cliffhanger right now.
Yeah, a very smooth run so far. Chris is also known for his very vocal celebrations at the end. He's a great athlete, such a great part of this community, and always putting on a good show and always putting on a good run, as we can see here.
Oh
no!
Too much. Well, there's not going to be a celebration this time. You can tell he was
Spoke too
really
soon.
frustrated as he just got too much of a swing on the skyhook.
Alex taking us by surprise there. I think he just got a little bit too excited on that skyhook. Yeah, you can just see that just sliding off. That can really cost you. We've now seen two athletes fall to the skyhooks there, John Thompson and Chris Keswick. That'll put Chris in the 6th position, and unless we see mistakes from our final athlete, Tex Gallagher, it might put him 2nd in the run order.
That would be a tough scene, but Chris is definitely an athlete who could overcome that. As we move on to 18-year-old Tex Gallagher, our final runner in the placement course for the weekend, and he wants to put up a tremendous time.
Yeah, I think Tex has seen Gav's time, and he's going to be gunning for that kind of 40-second time, making a little bit of a stumble there. That would have been a tragic...
Look at that, jumping out to the 4th ledge and then skipping a ledge. Okay, then. Why do more work than you need to?
That is such a far distance, Alex, that he has just jumped there. As he lines up for the skyhook. Gets the first one.
That reaches up. All right, will he have the fastest time? I don't know if he's going to beat Gav. Oh, it's close. 39.74, that's the fastest time.
Just an all-round such smooth run. Tex attacked that course from the start. A little bit of a stumble there that could have cost him, but he must have made up time on that cliffhanger there. That really made that difference and got him that 0.3 seconds he needed to get ahead of Gav's time. And Tex is the last runner in the placement course and is going to be the last runner in the challenge course, which of course, Alex, we have seen has been huge in this competition.
Now, I do want to clarify real quick. If I'm not mistaken, Dave will be running first in the challenge course also, so potentially giving us a little bit of beta there as well. That'll be fun to see him try to take on his own diabolical creations.
Well, I'm super excited for the challenge course. We're going to be seeing John Thompson and Chris Keswick up first. They are both phenomenal athletes, falling a bit shorter than they would have liked. And then we can see Dave Ravi, Trevor Salter, and then Cody Thomas, of course, one of the strong contenders. He has great endurance. And then our top 3 athletes, Daniel Waterman, Gav Wilson, and Tex Gallagher, all 3 of which are capable of taking out this Premier Series. And I'm excited to see how they fare on this challenge course, which, for those watching at home, I promise you will be one of the toughest courses you have seen in a while.
Oh, for sure. And I do want to acknowledge Claire Butterfield, who had a tremendous run kicking us off with the buzzer. Actually, was she? No, she went out on... She had that fall on the skyhook. My bad.
Yes, a small exit towards the end. Of course, she didn't learn the beta like I guess the other competitors have, where you grab the top edge straight away. And again, that's the benefit of going later in the run order. Unfortunately, Claire didn't have a choice on that one, and she will be our first runner again for the elite course. But yeah, Claire will definitely set a great standard coming into this challenge course. And we can just see here her run, again, just throwing down the standard that other competitors have to match. Yeah, and that ledge is so thin, Alex. They really have to go for it there. And I think that's going to conclude the placement courses for now. As we kind of gear up for that challenge course, it's going to be really interesting. And yeah, I believe that we're going to get some footage coming over the live stream that will kind of allow us to see what's ahead of the court. What's
I don't believe in
Yeah, so this is a replay from this morning in Australia. It would be earlier this evening here in the States, but this is Luke Davis, a tremendous young man who broke his finger prior to competing. And this second obstacle has been ruthless and has definitely dashed some Premier Series finals dreams.
Yeah, it definitely can get to the top athletes. Even when they are such exceptional runners, it can get the better of them. And we can just see here the hatchets. I think if the elite division are to face an obstacle like this, they will power through this, no troubles whatsoever. And we can see here that Luke is doing it with a broken finger.
I'm a little bit worried that we have those floating monkey bars set up, but I get the feeling that we'll be sticking with the hatchets.
Yeah, I believe those floating monkey bars have rotating handles, so it's just kind of a forearm burner. that's usually what that obstacle is used for. It's never a fun one. And I would love to see that vertical limit in play, but that, of course, just burns the forearms.
Yeah, see, that was what I was scared of.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to be the one to say it. Unless an obstacle has spawned out of thin air, this will be the obstacle for the elites. And once again, those just joining us, this was one of the runs in the amateur division. We are presuming the course will be pretty similar to what these amateurs ran earlier today.
Yeah, but who knows what Ravi has in the bag and what he has planned for these athletes. I think the athletes, at least from the West Australian context, are quite familiar with this style. It'll play to a lot of their strengths, particularly strong athletes such as Cody and Dan Waterman, who are really good in the endurance field. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
And these holds are rough. I think you mentioned that Dave custom crafts a lot of these, and these are kind of inverted cones, so a little bit tougher even than nunchucks.
Yeah, no, they're definitely a lot tougher than nunchucks, and some of them can be really slippery depending on the grip that he provides the athletes. And I guess the salmon ladder will probably see a fair few skips from a lot of the athletes.
Oh yeah,
I think that's pretty common. And also on this back end, what we like to call the stegosaurus, they'll probably skip the entire thing and just go straight down to the bottom, knowing a lot of these athletes.
Oh, certainly true. I kind of want to see them do the big warped wall for the elites, but I certainly don't blame Dave if he wants to show a little bit of mercy.
Yeah, that big warped wall is brutal. It's such a big jump, and it could be in there very well and truly. But also, if it's not, it's not, because I believe it's 4.5 meters, but what makes it so difficult is it's got a huge kind of curve on it, and you have to jump for the lip. You can't run it. And we can see here the placements once more. If we're able to maybe get up Tex Gallagher's run, I would love to kind of see what was perhaps the smoothest run we've seen all day. Just really coming out the gates here. We were pretty surprised, I guess. You know, he's come in as our last placed athlete, but he looks so smooth on the course that you don't even realize how fast he's going sometimes. And we can just see here.
Taking one more look. Yeah, basically just stepping over on the spine runner and then using his size to just jump out essentially the middle of the cliffhanger.
Yeah,
a load of time.
I think what I would also love to see is if we have Daniel Waterman's run, I would just love to see that cliffhanger again, where he basically kind of is setting a new world record there with the pace at which he attacked that. Again, demonstrating his power to weight ratio. It's only something that Dan Waterman can do. He's just exceptional in that field. So yeah, we're just
here's that powerful cliffhanger move. My goodness.
That's just, it blows my mind how quickly he does that. And you have to remember, these athletes aren't practicing these obstacles. That's the first time, I guess, that the cliffhanger's really been set up in such a way. So if you gave Dan a few more goes on it, I can't even imagine how fast he'd be doing it. And then, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the course plays to different people's strengths. Depending on how Dave has structured the course, it will either be an endurance course or a speed race. I really hope that it pushes these athletes to their limits and we see who comes out on top. And if that's the case, it's definitely going to advantage specific competitors. However, if we start to see some completions, I think some athletes that are more so where speed is their strength, they could definitely come out on top here. So it'll just depend on that we get to see.
And just a reminder of what we still have on the docket. This is by no means our last Premier Series event. In fact, next week we will be back in the States in Austin, Texas, Austin Ninjas. And Jack, I'm so excited for you to have your first Austin Ninjas experience because they always come up with some insane stuff. I cannot wait.
I genuinely can't wait. And I think some of the ones that really excite me is seeing all the Israel competitors that we're going to see on September 9th and 10th. As we've kind of said many times over, there is a specific show that has a similar alignment to the stuff that we do here at the World Ninja League, and it's their second highest rated show in Israel, except for the news. So they have some of the strongest athletes in the world, and to see them fare and compete for those top 4 spots is going to be incredible, Alex.
Pittsburgh has a decently sized Israeli population, and somebody came to our gym because they knew of the show in Israel. So,
That's awesome.
I mean, that is how big it is over there. Obviously, we have the UK qualifier as well. We had a giant European contingent this year, and that scene over there just grows year after year after year. Even when the shows are in trouble, the sport continues to grow, and that's something that we're even seeing in countries that don't have shows, just based on the how tight knit the European community is. And I can't wait to see a de facto European championship out at True Function next month.
I hope so. And I think you mentioned that how France had a team in the 2022 World Championships that was quite decent size, and then you mentioned that in this year's one, the team size is almost double in their presence at the World Championships, which is really great to see, because I remember when I was there were so many French athletes, and I'm excited to see how they go.
I'm going to tell this story while we have a moment. So we gave them the Best Dressed Squad award because they have these really bright and fancy uniforms that they wear throughout their competition. And so I was talking with some of the English speakers, and like, all right, we have a taped line here on the stage. Just make sure you're in front of the line, because you don't want people to knock over the awards and anything. And we knew they were going to get excited. So they start. I did not realize they had a song prepared. So they start like jumping up and down and singing this song. Greg Schwartz, the tuxedo guy, if you don't know his name.
Oh yeah.
Greg and I are literally like creating this human wall because we don't want them to knock over the awards. They were just so full of energy, and they're always so fun to talk to. Just all of them so great, and I can't wait to see them back in years to come.
Yeah, no, the presence over there is exceptional, and that's kind of the beauty of the Premier Series. It's the first time we're doing this, but we're getting to showcase all the best athletes from across the world and see what they're made of, and see how they kind of fare against the US competitors who have always kind of dominated the sport in the past. But we're showing them that there's other countries and other places out there that are looking to take those top spots and really compete with the top runners.
Yeah,
and we can just...
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, we can just see that kind of run order coming into effect now. It's not the same as what we started with the placement course, and it's really been flipped on its head. But, of course, Claire Butterfield got to step up first in the placement course, and will step up once again for the challenge course. Going with an interesting approach here with these steps, making sure that she gets the completion on that first obstacle.
3.5 minute time limit. Yeah, we've seen some athletes burn retries on that obstacle. She doesn't want to be one of them. I don't blame her at all.
Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity to fall, and so is the battering ram as Claire steps up for an obstacle that, if the nerves are there, you will fall straight away.
Look at this. Great balance, great control.
Yeah, Claire has a great background in gymnastics, so probably has no trouble there moving through the balance game.
You can tell there for sure. And she's onto the heavy hatchets. Now I'm starting to realize why they're called the heavy hatchets. They look a little bit thicker than the hatchets that some of the other divisions were using. I'm guessing, based on the name, that they're a little bit heavier to maneuver.
Yeah, and knowing Dave Rabi, he always does this kind of with the elite athletes and all the top athletes, is he'll take something and he'll make them deceptively heavier than what they look. So I promise you that they're definitely earning their name there. I know that Dave has used metal handles quite commonly for the top athletes and just really made them struggle through these obstacles.
Claire hanging on by one hand, but finding that floating handle. It's a good start. And yet,
going for that
more weighted. Well, first of all, watch out for that heavy hatchet. But the weighted obstacle is not really something that we've seen in the States. I wonder if maybe we have some course designers trying to get a little bit of a head start on their competitions for next season, thinking, oh, wait a minute, I can just make stuff heavier?
Yeah, that's definitely a trait of Dave Ravi's course designs. When in doubt, make things made of metal and then just make them impossible to hold. But you can see Claire here going for her second attempt. Of course, she's burnt a little bit of energy, but Claire is a very experienced athlete and can hopefully learn from her first mistakes. And Alex, she does need to complete this third obstacle, if I'm not incorrect
That
to
is
qualify.
That is in fact correct, but I'm loving her movements here. She's grabbing the handles high and then moving them while grabbing low. That is definitely the technique you want to use on obstacles like this. I've seen that primarily used in canes, but same strategy going here. A lot easier to move them. The lower you grab them!
No!
And Claire Butterfield spins out, and we're going to come up empty on the Elite Female Division. Claire just couldn't get through the heavy hatchets.
She really had to fight there through that obstacle, and I guess it's just the heavy nature of this new obstacle. She had to step up first and try them first, so couldn't kind of learn any betas. I think that's going to have all the other athletes worried as well, Alex, just kind of seeing how much more difficult those heavy hatchets have become now that it's a new ballpark and a new kind of game.
Certainly true, and we'll get a chance to see Dave Ravi on that obstacle. I love the legally distinct creature collection video game t-shirt that Dave's wearing. You know Dave loves Pokemon.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be interesting seeing Dave on this course, to be truthful. You can see him almost meditating, visualizing, hopefully, a course completion here. He's thinking about the absolute monstrosity of a course that he has just created, and now he's going to be trying to tackle it and defeat the monster.
3.5 minute time limit. Smoothly through the steps, onto the battering ram. After having looked at this all weekend, this is his moment to shine, and hopefully it doesn't get in his head.
You can see the balance beam moving a lot more than it did for Claire, but Dave is making good work of that obstacle. And now coming on to his design, the heavy hatchets. This is going to burn the forearms. Yeah, definitely a similar vibe to the canes that we've seen many times. Over.
He's just knocked that first handle. That is going to change his strategy. And opting to cross over, it definitely works. How many of these handles is he going to use? He's going to go from 2 to 4. He's going to get it locked in a little bit more. There we go. And he'll go to the right.
Okay, that secures Dave through the third obstacle as we now move into the back end of this course, opting to not use chalk.
Okay, well, it's not the vertical limit, so I guess that's good news.
I guess it is.
Fat UFO, never seen that before. Wasn't able to grab it. We saw a tricky switch grip last week at Motive. This looking to be even harder.
Yeah, that's a really small cliff ledge. I believe it's 15 mils. No, 20 mils, perhaps. It's not that easy to grab, and it moves
what's
around
that in
a lot.
American?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But yeah, I've never seen a UFO of that thickness before. That is insane. But Dave sticks the landing.
He's gonna have to lâcher on to this weird-looking hold, but unfortunately, he is now getting crooked. Gonna have to straighten out his swing.
Yeah, this is spelling disaster for Dave here, as he is on his second and final attempt on this obstacle. But he just can't seem to get that momentum changed. He's going to be hanging up there for a while. He does have the stamina, but he can't break that sideways momentum, Alex.
Yeah, I think at this point he's just trying to maybe chuck to the platform. He's kind of in no man's land. Although, it might be straightening out here.
Oh!
No, I'm afraid not. Now, the good news of all of this is that they don't have to do the vertical limit to floating hole punch. A little kiss for the baby.
Well, knowing some of these endurance-based athletes, I think some of them would have been hoping for it. Some of these athletes can go back and forth 10 times on that vertical limit. But we get to see Dave Ravi's run one more time. You can just see here, he fell short on that first UFO. It's taking him by surprise. And now just really couldn't get that dismount. Was stuck in no man's land for a while. And he's happy either way.
Oh. And I'm sure, the main task was getting through the first 3 obstacles. Now Dave, ineligible to qualify for the Premier Series finals through this competition, but did want to make sure that he showed solidarity with these athletes, giving them a little inspirational run beforehand.
Yeah, I think he would have hoped for a completion just so he could tell all the other athletes why they fell. But now we're coming to John Thompson here. John came out a little bit early on the skyhooks in the placement course, but make no mistake, he is a force to be reckoned with here. At 17 years old, he has an incredible track record in the Australian League. moving the battering ram more than I think I've ever seen before.
Yeah, but he had the exact right idea, walking it when it was coming backwards so that he didn't have to go as far, and then just kind of riding it out when it was going forwards. Exact right idea if you're going to do that. Little trouble on the heavy hatchets, but making it count.
Yeah, you can see how difficult this obstacle is. John really having to fight here, holding that lock off for just long enough to get it in the hook.
Getting real spun around now.
Might be intentional. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It looks like the carnival's in town because John Thompson is first in line for the merry-go-round.
I love that. And now we're going to see him hopefully onto the fourth obstacle. John Thompson, our second athlete to compete. And now our second athlete onto the switch grip to Fat UFO Lachey. Could not have a better name for that if I tried. I love how it's called a Fat UFO because it really is. It's a monster of a UFO.
I am a big proponent of call it what it is, you know? It's a fat UFO. Call it a fat UFO.
And John is now lining up the grab. Oh, and just
too far in front. Too far in front of that. He'll get a second attempt, though. Just shaking his head, trying to figure out this obstacle. And for the second straight week, these elite men facing the possibility of a brutal fourth obstacle being the deciding factor.
Yeah, we've seen it last week, and now we're seeing it this week again. I think attacking the Fat UFO, you can't grab underneath it because it is too big, so you really kind of have to approach it coming in high, and if you come at it too fast, you will probably miss it, as we just saw with John, as he lines up his second attempt here.
Oh, he had the right idea that time, but I think, again, just a little too far in front.
Taking us all by surprise there. I don't think that's where John was planning on coming out there. You can just see how difficult of a grab that is. John is such a strong athlete, and I think that's an early upset in his books. I don't think that's where he wanted to come out.
I would agree with that assessment.
And we now have...
See if Chris Keswick perhaps can be the first to beat that tricky Fat UFO.
Yeah, Chris knows how to thrive in the difficult moments. He knows how to kind of overcome obstacles that all other ninjas may be struggling with. I feel as though as these later ninjas have that advantage of seeing other competitors go through it, they're going to understand how to approach that UFO. And once we see one person through, I'm confident that we'll start to see a plethora of ninjas through, as Chris Keswick, aged 37, steps up to the platform. Chris,
all right, here we go.
Now getting ready. Chris, just a general local hero in the Ninja League. He has he's been a part of the Australian scene for a long time, has so much experience, and is always down here training. So, taking a nice calm approach so far.
Real quick! Was that it? Did he make the platform? I guess he did. That's a clear.
Well, we can see. I believe that was that was a close one.
He was cutting it close, but Chris Keswick continuing on the course, on the heavy hatchets now, trying to get these hatchets in the floating handles.
Yeah, now pacing through.
Done so very swiftly. Just needs to get to that ring and he can eye up the dismount.
Yeah, this is the fastest we've seen someone through heavy hatchets so far.
Here's that one hand again. Making the dismount, we saw an athlete one-hand that in either the amateur or teen division.
And I think the benefit of Chris going through that so quickly is he now has extra energy as he comes into the switch grip to the Fat UFO Lachey.
Somebody just pointed out he has a 4-meter salmon ladder in his backyard and hosts backyard ninja competitions.
Yes, he does. And he is now lining up. No!
He grabbed too far in front, and it's the same thing that happened to John. Laughing it off, but this is going to be his second and final attempt at this obstacle. If he beats it, he still has one in the bag.
I think it might be getting
the back half of this course.
I don't think Australians have ever seen a UFO of this magnitude, and it's proving to be so difficult. You have to get it dead on in the center. And Chris lining up his second.
I haven't seen anything this thick in terms of UFOs either. And this time he grabs too far in front and has a sell that Shawn Michaels would be proud of there at the end, but a strong run by Chris Keswick. That was the moment we were worried about, where he got a little bit crossed up on the balance beam, but just unfortunately this UFO is just so difficult.
Yeah, and I guess I really hope that we start to see ninjas through this fourth obstacle and we don't have what we saw last week where we just saw endless waves of competitors falling out on that fourth obstacle. But Dave Ravi has set a course that these elites have to fight for. It's not going to be easy, as Trevor Salter, another experienced competitor, someone who has competed at all levels of the ninja scene, is now going to be stepping up. He surprised you, Alex, a lot in the in the placement course. So
well,
I'm excited
I tell
to
you,
see
he's not going to catch me off guard again. He has definitely earned a huge amount of my respect.
Now, coming into the battering ram. Looking strong. That was very smooth. And Trevor knows what he needs to do. He's seen 3 elite male athletes now all come out at the same point. And is now going to have to try and beat that.
Yeah, he knows it very well could be a race through heavy hatchets that determines the top qualifying spots. But as we've said so often, that almost never crosses their mind. Usually they are just focused about hitting buzzers.
Oh, definitely. And Trevor is having a little bit of a struggle here on heavy hatchets, but using that endurance, he's fighting with the lock-off here.
Oh, wow, look at that. And he's actually going to go back to the first board. Great resiliency. Going to try this again. Maybe going for the third one this time. Just barely hooks it in. Needs to get that a little bit more in, I think.
He is fighting here on this obstacle, on these heavy hatchets.
Losing that fourth one, gets it locked in. Come on, Trevor. Pulling up to the ring. This is the easy part. And he's got it. Deep sigh of relief.
Yeah, you can just see that relief coming over his face as he had to fight there for that obstacle. That was a beast of an obstacle there, but Trevor's commitment to see it through to the end and not give up. As he now gets 2 attempts on the Fat UFO, he will be the first ninja to complete this obstacle if he can make it through.
Yeah, those are very thin ledges. Usually we're used to seeing a little bit thicker cliffhanger ledges just in general, even on cliffhangers, but especially on switch grips like that. And Trevor just, again, grabbing a little bit in front of the UFO. It's ultimately just like a regular UFO where you have to grab it from the sides, but it's a little bit smaller, so a little bit less room for error, plus it's thicker, so a little bit more difficult to grab.
Yeah, you can't get your thumbs on it underneath it either, which I think is the real killer, is the fact that usually you have your thumbs to stabilize, but these ninjas don't have that luxury where they've just got to get it precise.
Good catch. And this time he gets it! And then he slipped off!
No!
The coin flip of destiny has flipped Trevor Salter to the ground.
You just don't like to see it. We've seen Trevor fight to get to this point, and he sticks the landing and then falls off.
Devastating.
What a testament to how difficult that UFO is. Even when you have it, you can still fall off there. As we look at the times, we can see Trevor was the slowest to that point, but has he's won our hearts where he has gone the furthest we've seen so far. Chris Keswick could still kind of take out this whole thing if the reality is that ninjas don't make it past this fourth obstacle.
Yeah, but Chris would be the first man in, as our last 4 runners are up, realizing that it very well could be a race to that obstacle unless all 4 of them beat this obstacle.
Alex, as we gear up for these last 4 competitors, it is perhaps our 4 strongest competitors. If there's someone who knows how to complete obstacles when others fail, it's Cody Thomas. Exceptional grip strength. I can imagine that he's already mapped out this obstacle. He's probably built it in his own backyard himself. And yeah, Cody's hopefully going to be the one to break this for us, set the beta, and allow our competitors to move forward to the back end of this course.
And I love hearing that so many of these competitors have really good backyard setups. Kind of reminds me of the days when all we had were Movement Lab in David Campbell's backyard.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a big part of the Australian scene, is having backyard ninja competitions as well, and just having everyone around to celebrate the sport. And we can see Cody taking his sweet time here as he moves through battering ram, just making sure of it.
Yeah, but I'm worried about this time. Like, I could see this if you burned a retry, but he
It's all right.
is starting to run low on... Like, he's not going to beat this faster than Chris did. So that really means he is probably going to have to beat that fourth obstacle that no one has done yet. But if what you've said about Cody is true, he might be the man for the job.
Yeah, I think his eyes are on the completion. He's not one to use retries or need them. So hopefully Cody is going to come through here and come through strong for us. I really want to see someone through this obstacle, Alex.
I want to see somebody to the end because I want to see what's left of this course.
2 minutes 10 on the clock here as we gear up for an obstacle that has surprised us all by taking out Dave Ravi first and then a wave of competitors afterwards. But Cody Thomas looking to break that.
Only Dave has successfully caught and held the UFO, and he wasn't able to get off it. Cody is able to catch it, grabbing a little bit on the front, but great grip strength and staying in the center. This could be it. Makes the catch!
Yes! And we are hopefully going to see Cody through this obstacle and onto the back end of this course. Once again proving that time after time, when no one can beat an obstacle, Cody's there to beat it.
I'm sorry, does that say vertical limits?
Oh no, please
Oh,
no.
oh dear. Oh dear.
Cody is a grip strength master. See, it's just flying up the steg.
Oh,
Now,
come
is that a
on.
vertical? Oh no.
That's a one-hand vertical limit. At least you get the nunchucks on the other hand.
It's alright. Cody sleeps with vertical limits in his hands. He is a master of the grip.
But
he
perfect
sticks it.
technique, realizing that he isn't going to be able to get a traditional swing off of that, and building up power to very quickly get to the nunchuck, which is much easier to hold on to.
Now, endurance is part of Cody's repertoire. He knows how to go the distance. But he seriously must be gassed as we go into an obstacle that looks just so painful.
What?
I told you, Dave Ravi delivers.
Yeah, no, this is what we warned you about, ladies and gentlemen. We've been saying Dave Ravi comes up with some weird stuff. This is some weird stuff.
Yeah, those are vertical holds on cliffhangers that I know don't have a whole lot of grip on.
And they're slanted downwards. Yeah, Cody is having trouble even getting a handle on them.
I think he's going to try and go for a skip.
Might as well. Almost had it, though. And perhaps unlocking some beta for our final three competitors, realizing that, I mean, obviously, if they get to this point, they will qualify for Ferox like Cody did. But realizing that the dovetail might be out of reach and trying to go for a skip instead. But the main story here, Cody defeating the obstacle that nobody has completed yet, and then completing this obstacle that we weren't even sure was possible.
Yeah, and that's what worries me for the upcoming ninjas. Is Cody is really a grip strength master. He can grab any hold, but we also have Daniel Waterman coming up next, who also has that kind of same caliber of grip strength. So he doesn't quite have the same wingspan as Cody, so I don't think he'll be able to afford that luxury of trying to do that skip that Cody tried right at the end there.
But he does have the power, so if he's able to throw off of that kunai, he could potentially catch the trapeze, or maybe he just has the grip strength to beat the dovetail.
He might, and I think if there's one person that's going to do it, it's Daniel Waterman. He justified his place in the placement course, setting an exceptional time of around 40 seconds, and just kind of fell short of the other two competitors, Gav Wilson and Tex Gallagher. But he is going to be looking to go all the way. A really good, kindred-spirited competitor, always down for a laugh, always there to compete and have a good time, but also just kind of win. I think that's what Daniel knows best.
Certainly true, but needs to be careful on this balance beam. There we go. It's
Setting
always
a
balance.
faster time.
It's always
Yeah.
balance.
Takes out the best of the best.
Yeah, if you kids at home are thinking, I got to train the next big upper body move, train your balance. Don't forget about leg day. Don't skip leg day.
Well, Daniel Waterman is strong on all fronts. In particular, the power to weight ratio is going to be his biggest strength as he comes in through heavy hatchets with no troubles whatsoever. But we're now
breezing
Alex
through.
stepping up.
Maybe not. Now breezing through, and that is the fastest time that we have seen through heavy hatchets today, meaning Daniel Waterman had secured his spot in the top 4. Now the business of beating some uncharted waters.
Yeah, this is the obstacle that's taken out all the competitors so far, except for Cody Thomas. Can Daniel Waterman make it through? Yes, he can!
Okay, there's the first bit done.
He's just got to stick this dismount. This is the big one.
Gets it! Although he's spun up. Might want to think about going for the claw. He does. And he's out of there.
Okay.
And plenty of time to beat Stegosaurus in vertical limits.
Yeah, Alex, this obstacle took us by surprise. Having those vertical limits as just singular holds that don't have much grip to them. Daniel moving through the Stegosaurus well so far, but this is the vertical limit. This one's going to burn you.
I think he's realizing that is going to be tough to hang on from one hand, but look at how easily he just did that.
I think he might. Yeah, he's looking for that second
grab.
grab.
My gosh. Oh my gosh.
That is too easy for him.
Unreal.
Yeah, Daniel Waterman solidifying the top time to this point so far, and that will put him into the top spot. But with 1:30 on the clock, there is still potential to beat these last 3 obstacles.
And not a single retry used also.
Yeah, this is the obstacle in his way, Alex. This took out Cody Thomas, one of the best.
Oh, look at this. He's going to try to skip the dovetail, go for the trapeze, and he's got it!
Yes!
All right, well, I don't think we're going to see much of the dovetail tonight.
No, I think the other ninjas are looking at that and being like, yeah, I'm going to skip that. And now coming into the salmon ladder, Alex, we could see our first finish.
Yeah, this is the same salmon ladder that we saw the amateurs and teens beat earlier.
Yeah, Daniel Waterman's done this 1,000,000 times over. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes here and doesn't gas out, he can get this done.
Kane was the one who tipped me off to how good this kid is. And Kane is proving right so far. Big skip downwards, might just go from here. And he does! 32 seconds, raising his hand in victory. Daniel Waterman with not a blemish, beating this entire course that we didn't think was possible.
Yeah, just all round an exceptional run. You cannot fault the man. He has just delivered time after time, season after season. And coming into one of the toughest courses we have ever seen, he has aced through the vertical limits and then learned from Cody's mistakes and gone for that skip. Just, again, the benefit of going later in these runs.
Placement course, so important. Even if it doesn't count for results, it is so important because ultimately it kind of does. Once you see how your fellow competitors can take on some of the toughest obstacles in our sport.
Yeah, Daniel, that is going to be a tough time to beat. Gav Wilson and Tex have their work cut out for them. I mean, a 303 for 8 obstacles and some of those just being brutal on the forearms. Dan Waterman, yeah, that could have been the winning run.
I would certainly believe it. We were denied a finish a week ago. Yuri Prokudin made it to the last obstacle right as time expired, but Daniel Waterman leaving no doubt. As we move on to Gav Wilson's second to last competitor, Chris Keswick, still dangling on the bubble.
Gav Wilson now coming into the battering ram. He's seen Dan Waterman throw down the gauntlet, and now Gav is going to have to try and beat that time as he spends a bit of time on this battering ram, more than he would have liked, but calm and smooth and collected, and that's what we like to see.
Good work, and he will be able to put this wingspan to use on the hatchets.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. You know, if there's one advantage Gav Wilson has, having a bit of struggle here.
Okay, yeah, we kind of see competitors a lot of the time like try to turn their wrist, turn their body around. But maybe that's not quite in Gav's wheelhouse. This is in Gav's wheelhouse, though, just gliding through. Going to use the ring, and he will easily wrangle in the platform for what I think should be faster than Chris. But he could confirm that by being the third today to beat the switch script to Fat UFO.
Yeah, and this is really where his eyes are on. It's not just in that top 4. It is focused on getting that completion and contesting Dan Waterman for that top time. But this is where dreams have been broken. The Fat UFO.
Okay, gets it.
Now just got to get the dismount. This is a tough one.
You know Dave is kicking himself. He's like, man, I could have just caught it normally. Well, Gav Wilson secures his spot in the top 4 and has qualified for Premier Series finals in November. But more to be done.
And one thing that'll be interesting here is Gav, of course, is known for his wingspan. So you could argue that he could skip those vertical limits if he has that wingspan for it.
That's
Who
a
knows
good point.
It might be in the plans for him, but he's more than capable of doing the vertical limits. Just depends on how he's feeling.
Well,
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go for it.
Grabs it. And quickly through to the nunchuck, but slipping. So maybe he will just go for the nunchuck.
But that reset, having to go straight back up that Stegosaurus and then go for the vertical limit again, that makes it a much harder battle. Gav's still with potential here, though. We've seen him set a really good time to this point. So if he can just recover, he looks a little bit tired, but Gav's the man to pull it off.
A lot smoother this time on the Stegosaurus, actually.
And now he's gearing up. He might go for the skip, or he might...
That is precisely what he does. Yeah. He's got it. Oh my goodness. Well, when you have a wingspan like that, you can break an obstacle.
Yeah, Gav has broken that obstacle well and truly. And he's probably going to break this one as well.
Oh, for sure.
He's got a minute on the clock. Obviously, the forearms will be burning, but hopefully that's not going to stop Gav as he lines up straight.
Oh my goodness. And I mean,
It's
he's
not
just
fair,
going to
Alex.
glide through this.
Every ninja has their strengths and advantages, and Gav is using his grip strength and his wingspan to full effect there.
Can we just have a separate division for Gav? This feels like a cheat code.
The wingspan division.
Yep. But
of course,
we will see how Gav takes on the salmon ladder. He is not faster than Daniel was, so at best would finish second, hanging on there by one hand. So definitely showing some strength. But the clock's starting to run down. 22 seconds, missing the salmon ladder, and he's going to have to start from scratch. This is crunch time now.
He's going to get a little bit of rest here, but 21 seconds, he's going to have to go. There is really no time for pausing, no time for breaks. He's going to have to hit this at a really fast pace. He's definitely capable of doing it, but can he do it under the time pressure, and can he do it whilst gassed?
Quickly off of that star. Second attempt now, 15 seconds left. Up one. There goes the hat. And there goes Gav. There was no hat. I don't know why I said hat.
Just all round, such an outstanding run.
Oh, you love to see this. Getting some support from, I presume that's his daughter. Oh, there was a hat. I knew there was a hat.
Yeah. So we get one more look at that run here. Gav Wilson, every ninja should play to their strengths, and Gav played to his wingspan. You can see that he might have been a little bit more tired, but he learned from his mistake. He's like, all right, screw the vertical limits. I'm just going to go straight for the handles here. Doing something no other ninja can really do.
I was going to reference Philip Scott's very famous Static of Monstro Swing. Same kind of idea. Just skipping a very difficult nunchuck obstacle at the 2019 Worlds. And wouldn't he have just texted me saying, sign me up for the wingspan division?
Yeah, when in doubt, just skip. And we can see this leaderboard once again. Gav Wilson securing that second place. Chris Keswick still on that chopping block. Will he hold on to that position? Only time will tell. Cody Thomas kind of really throwing down a great run. It could be argued that if he went later in, he would have learnt from the mistakes of others and could have gone further. But yeah, Daniel Waterman with the time to beat. As we move into our last competitor, who is perhaps one of the strongest here today.
You gotta feel for Chris Keswick, though. Coming in with a strong performance, but then having, only one of these four needed to finish slower than him. But, I mean, we've seen 3 beat him by 2 obstacles, and now Tex Gallagher, a young man who obliterated the challenge course.
Yeah, and now as we come into the real deal, the business end of the equation, Tex is going to be looking at Dan Waterman's time and trying to beat it. He's not having too much trouble there on the balance. He's got a wingspan similar to Gav's. He's a tall competitor. He's also quite light. He's fast. Yeah, he just has all the strengths that allow him to dominate in so many of these courses.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be at least 6 feet, but he moves like somebody who's like 5'3", just gliding through loads of power, loads of speed.
Yeah, and the one thing that will blow you away about Tex is his ability to kind of one-arm some of the craziest holds I've seen. You give him some really big candles and he'll still one-arm them, where people will struggle with two hands. So he is lining up the fat UFO.
Uh-oh.
No!
Okay, well, this
early
is
upset
worry
here.
territory now.
Tex will get a second attempt here, but this is going to be his second and final one.
And we
And
give
the
you
nerves
those
are setting
retries
in.
for a reason. Tex using them to his advantage, as he should. But this time he grabs it.
Learning from his mistakes.
Needs to get out of
He
there.
gets the-
And Tex Gallagher will be our... Something's just happened.
Did his foot touch the ground or something?
I don't think so.
We're going to get a replay here, but clearly something has been pointed out by the adjudicators.
That was a foot
And,
touch. Well, wingspan kills sometimes. And
yeah,
it
being
costs
too tall.
Tex Gallagher the ability to take on the back half of this course.
I was about to say that was such a smooth run through that obstacle that has taken out so many ninjas, but it looks like we're going to secure Dan Waterman as our most dominant ninja of the competition. He came in with a third place placement run and now in the challenge course, just smoking the rest of the competition there, completing all 8 obstacles in a time that gave him more than 27 seconds left on the clock. So hats off to Dan Waterman, and hopefully we're going to see him at the Premier Series finals, ready to contest all the top competitors.
Moreover, I want to make mention, even though Tex Gallagher went out on that 4th obstacle, it's going to be the 2nd straight week that we've seen an athlete go out on the 4th obstacle as the last runner and still qualify. His time was the fastest to that point, and we will see Tex Gallagher claim that final spot. But Daniel Waterman's runs were just so impressive, both in the placement course and the challenge course. That placement run where he just motored through the cliffhanger and then just put all of his strengths to work on some absolutely ridiculous obstacles. All of those 4 spots were well earned, and congratulations to all of them on qualifying.
I was just going to say, with that part of the obstacle that he skipped with the upside down cliffhanger, I promise you right now that they're all going to be trying it, and a few of them will be flashing it. Hopefully they'll get its first go. I'm pretty confident. So
it's always after the comp. We had my favorite example of this. We had an well, first of all, we need to look at this cliffhanger again.
Oh, just exceptional, and just kind of setting the dominant pace. So we can see Gav Wilson again, one of our top 4 competitors, and he's secured a qualifying spot. Yeah, just all around, it was a smooth run from those top athletes. We saw a lot of early exits, but as soon as Cody Thomas here broke that first 4th obstacle, it was game over from there, and all these top ninjas just started to dominate and shine.
Yeah, I love as a commentator when somebody just goes into uncharted territory and then just beasts it. And then, of course, we had Daniel Waterman just doing Daniel Waterman things. My goodness, I cannot wait to see this young man compete against the likes of Jay Lewis and Yuri Prokudin at Premier Series finals in November.
Yeah, he will definitely put the burners on and definitely show up for these ninjas. And I think we saw him on that vertical limit, just how strong he was and how little struggle he had in that moment. It just goes to show he consistently comes out on top on so many competitions in Australia. And I'm excited to see him at the finals, Alex. But we're not done, eh? We've got another 5 weeks ahead of us of incredible competitions just like this one.
Certainly true. And next week, I told you, Jack, it's going to be your first Nick Fordney experience.
I can't wait.
Oh my goodness. I am so excited to see what they have cooked up. We're also, and by the way, that's potentially a very loaded elite field. I've heard some names being thrown around for that competition. So if you're a fan of American Ninja, you are going to be a fan of a lot of these competitors that are going to compete at Austin Ninjas. It's going to be a lot of name value there. And I think the same will hold true of Modus 3 weeks from now in Kansas City.
Of course, and then we have the Israel and UK competitions where we're going to see some of the strongest international athletes that many of our viewers have never gotten to see before. We haven't shown too much of the Israel and European communities competing except for at the World Championships. So the opportunity to display that on the top level and to see them fight for those top 4 spots is going to be, I am genuinely the most excited for those competitions, particularly for Israel.
I completely agree. And a little bit of international flavor in our last competition too, Life Force Ninja. So I've been saying it's in the Seattle area, but it's basically right on the US-Canada border. They have a lot of Canadian athletes coming down there. British Columbia has such a vibrant ninja scene. And the Northwest is really starting to get it together in the ninja world. We have a couple new facilities coming on for Season 9 in Oregon, if I saw that correctly. Life Force has really been holding its own as, kind of emerging as one of the standout facilities in the WNL. They just won the Best Course Design Award, and they have quite a strong team up there that has dominated a number of divisions. So all of these competitions are going to be so exciting, but I think we should wrap it up and let our American viewers go to bed. Jack, any thoughts before we part?
Well, I think every week that ticks by, it just makes me more and more excited for the Premier Series finals. Of course, that's what it's all coming towards. So, Alex, I can't wait, and I'll leave you to sign off your American competitors and people who need to go to bed.
Very well. Well, I will at least do my best to make you Aussies proud here. For Mary Layton, Kane Casillas, and Jack Anderson, I'm Alex Cunningham saying good day from Western Australia.